Some people trade love for a cheap thrill and call it liberation. Today on our space, apparently the perfect cup of caffeine is more thrilling than 8 years of loyalty. Wife insisted on an open marriage to spark it up. I divorced her instead. Now she's chasing me for a chance. I don't know where to begin. This is a long one. Happened to me a while ago, but the recent incident made me stir it up. This is about my ex-wife, Emily, female 36. I'm a male 36. Was married to her for 8 years before the divorce. We were a happy loving couple initially. I mean, there was nothing major to worry about. I'm in a corporate job that pays me well. She was into graphics, loved her creative job. We had a comfortable life. I think that's what the problem was. She took that peace and comfort to be boring. She didn't have to hustle. Irrespective of how much she made, she never had to worry about bills because I made well. Not that she didn't contribute, but she wasn't obligated to. I never minded plugging in extra bucks for her. I was in love and she was my wife after all. I did everything to keep her happy. She loved trying new desserts, even when we were still stuck in a rented apartment and saving for a house. We still used to cafe hop on the weekends. That was the one little tradition we never let go of. Honestly, those were some of the happiest parts of our routine. But somehow around the 7th year of our marriage, things started to shift. It wasn't overnight, just small changes, the kind you don't take seriously until they slowly start stacking up. She threw herself deeper into work, saying she needed to work harder for a promotion. At first, I thought she was just grinding. However, eventually that distance started bothering me. Not that I wasn't busy, I've always had a tough work life, yet I never got disconnected from her the way that she did for me. I tried to talk to her about it. For a few instances, she assured me there was nothing wrong and she was just busy with work. Over the months, her answer to my complaining changed. From assurance, it changed to ignorance and shut down. She would call me an overthinker and snap at me like I was just blowing it up unnecessarily. Play the victim that I was calling her an absent partner because she was working hard while I did the same thing all the time. That was pure gaslighting, which I realize now. I really tried not to think about it, and maybe it was really the workload, but she started to build her life outside our realm. Our weekend traditions of exploring cafes slowly faded away. Even if I made a plan to go out and spend quality time together, she would push it away saying she had work. But she had all the time to spend with her friends and colleagues. Our favorite pizza place and Chinese corners, she visited with her friends. She would either inform me later or I would get to know when her friends tagged her on their posts. If I confronted, it would be, yeah, team dinner and client meeting. No matter how much I tried to brush it off, telling myself it was harmless, but it really stung. Those little adventures that used to be ours were no longer special for us. So many nights passed, and we barely got to have dinner together. One evening, my work ended early and I planned to cook for her, hoping it could bring back a little normalcy in our lives. I texted her about it. She left me on scene. I thought she got the message. Joke's on me, she didn't. She came home tipsy and full, saying she had already had dinner with her colleagues. Apparently, her senior took them out for team dinner. She didn't even bother to inform me when I texted her. That was it. I couldn't live in ignorance. That was sheer disrespect. I held off for the night because I wanted her to be in her full senses when I confronted her. The next morning, I sat her down and told her very clearly that this is not how a marriage works, and I was not comfortable with how she was behaving. I didn't buy her work excuse or her assurance anymore. I told her that she should take responsibility for her behavior. When she realized she no longer could escape the situation, she gave in, patiently heard my rant, barely looked up from her phone, and when I was done, she glanced at me and said she didn't feel the spark anymore. I wasn't so shocked, honestly. The spark was indeed gone, and I was ready to do everything to have it back. I suggested we go for therapy and immediately start our weekend tradition of exploring cafes and maybe take a vacation. To this, she rolled her eyes and said, "This is what you got? You're still stuck in 1990s. I was pissed at her reaction, yet I maintained my composure and asked for her suggestion. After a long, suffocating pause, she asserted, "Maybe we should try an open marriage." I paused. Wait, what? I really didn't know how to react. If she had said this in a normal conversation, I would have laughed, thinking it to be a joke. The situation wasn't funny. I kept staring at her while all these thoughts racing inside my head. She gets up from the table, snaps, "Never mind, you won't get it. You're almost a fossil. I was stupid to even bring this up." I stayed there, stunned, trying to wrap my head around how the person I had spent so many years with suddenly felt like a stranger. I followed her and asked what she meant. She just snapped at me that she didn't have time for this and she had to get ready for work. When she was in the shower, my desperation kicked in and I tried to snoop into her phone only to find that she had changed her password. We had never hidden our phones from each other before, and seeing that change hit me hard and I immediately knew she was up to something. When she came out, instead of confronting her, I asked for her phone. She didn't give it, saying I was trying to breach her privacy. I picked up on that and asked if she had changed her password. She said yes, and she doesn't owe an answer why. I was getting late for work, so I dropped the talk there and went on with my day. For the next 2 to 3 days, I closely observed her. She was too guarded about her phone. One night, I saw her texting someone profusely, and when I came near, she shut down the screen and closed her eyes. I told her this is not how it works. This weekend, we are either going for therapy or divorce attorney. I thought she would flinch. Dang no, she was like, sure, picks up her bag and left. Friday evening, I get a text that she would be spending the weekend at her colleagues'. They're working on some important project which they have to deliver on Monday. On Instagram, I see her posting pictures of late night coffee and pizzas. I had mixed feelings that it had anything to do with work. I gave her the benefit of the doubt. Monday evening, when she was finally home, I asked her if she was ready for therapy. She rolled her eyes and said, "You're still stuck there?" I asked how on earth she expects our marriage to fix if not therapy. She giggled, "Open marriage, told ya." I lost it. I told her that I know she has already cheated and want to open the marriage to cover it up. She turned red and said, "I don't owe you a response. You can think whatever you want. I'm not going to go to your stupid therapy to hear your rants." I shot back, "Then be prepared to be served." She looks at me in the eyes and goes, "Sure. Do you want me to drive you to a lawyer?" That was so effing outrageous. I stormed out of the house. My marriage was over. I hired a lawyer and told her that I had filed. She rolled her eyes and said, "Sure. Don't come to me later begging to take you back." I nodded that I won't. The rest of the process was seamless because she was also clear that I either agree to open the marriage or we divorce. I was also clear that I won't agree to have her getting effed while still being married to me. She asked for 2 weeks to find a place to move out. I agreed on the condition that she was not allowed to have any of her dirty stuff inside my house. She nodded. I moved my stuff to the spare room. Those 2 weeks were such a nightmare. I would often hear her giggling on the phone like a teenager. Then she went on vacation, apparently to celebrate her separation, and came back with tan and tattoos. I was barely able to recognize the woman anymore. She looked filthy. I doubted myself. How did I ever love that woman? Most of the nights, she would come home late and drunk, if at all she came. Felt like she got freedom from a cage. She pretended to be happier than ever. Would talk so loudly to her friends over the phone that she was finally so happy that she chose herself. It was such a relief when she left. We didn't have a lot of assets to fight for. Didn't have much savings. The house was still on a mortgage. Initially, I wanted to keep the house, but then I had to pay half its market price up front to her. I didn't have so much money, so I decided to sell it off and split whatever was left after the clearance. Though it sounds simple now, it wasn't that easy after all. I was mentally distraught. Everything went down so fast that I wasn't able to come to terms while she had already mentally checked out. She had moved on, was enjoying her life, doing whatever she couldn't do while being married. For me, the first few months after that were brutal. I couldn't even place my finger where it went wrong. Sometimes I blame myself that maybe I was at fault. Maybe I didn't see the signs before. I could barely focus at work. Everything felt heavy, and it was hard to even get through the day. But then my friends stepped in and became my support system. They were there to listen, to talk me through it, and eventually I came out of it. It's been a year and a half since then, and now I feel better about my life and the decisions I made. Not a dramatic kind of happiness, but I was doing okay. And then, just when I thought the past was behind me, my phone buzzed and there was a message from her. "I've been thinking about you." I had deleted her number after the divorce, but I still remember it though. Initially, I thought it was some spam. Then I looked carefully and it was her. I was still trying to make sense of it when a second one chimed. "I miss you." I ignored it. She doesn't deserve any response from me. The next morning, I woke up to another text. "Maybe we could try again?" It hit me so badly. There was no apology, no explanation. Not that I wanted one, but just this sheer sense of entitlement, like she could waltz back into my life whenever she felt like it. She thinks she'll text me, "I miss you," and I would run to her like a dog, wagging my tail between my legs. She sent a long paragraph reminiscing about the good old days of our marriage and how our relationship deserves a second chance. Reading those words didn't soften me. If anything, it made me angrier. It felt insulting and disgusting. I blocked her, thinking she would get her answer. She didn't. Instead, she doubled down, then tripled down. She texted me on social media, called me through Facebook Messenger. I blocked her there. She created another account and sent explicit pictures and provocative messages that were clearly meant to seduce me, test boundaries, or pull me back into her world. I blocked it without replying, telling myself she was just looking for a reaction and I won't honor her with one. She didn't budge. Her texts were so aggressive and personal, trying to exert power. She said things like, "I know you can't resist this," and attached a bikini picture of herself. I felt disgusted and furious. It wasn't just about the pictures. It was about control. She wanted to remind me that she still had power over my thoughts. I wasn't going to play that game. I thought of telling her that I would get a restraining order if she doesn't stop her nuisance, but my friends advised me against it. The reason being, first, it's not easy to get a restraining order against someone with no criminal record. And second, it would fulfill her motive. She wants attention and this would get one, so better to let her do whatever she wants. Currently, I'm following their advice and documenting everything for future reference, hoping she eventually tires of and quits disturbing me. The reason why I'm posting it here is because I want to seek a second opinion on what should be the best course of action for me. Should I really let it pass or do something about it? Any sort of guidance would mean a lot to me. Update 1. Thanks for engaging on my post. Didn't realize that so many of you would turn up to share your valuable wisdom, and I cannot thank enough to each of you. I tried to reply to everyone's comments and DMs. In case I missed any, sorry about that. Going by the suggestion that most of you gave, I remained immune to her provocation. Didn't react, didn't respond, just ignored her. Kept blocking her wherever she reached out. After doing this for a month, I thought she was done with me. After getting blocked from everywhere, I felt like she got the message that I wasn't interested. Boy, was I wrong. This weekend, I was having a date over at my place. Okay, so I didn't talk about my new relationship in my last post. Felt it was unnecessary information then. It's not that I'm in love or that I'm going to marry her now. It's just that she has been a good friend of mine for many years and she has been a support to me during the divorce. Let's call her Sarah. When I say she was my friend, I don't mean we used to hang out or chat regularly. We knew each other through mutual friends, met at a few parties, were connected on social media. That's it. When the news of my divorce came out, she texted to check on me and eventually we started talking. We're still not committed as such, but we hang out sometimes. Or you can say, we're in a casual relationship. So this Friday, I had her over. We were having a good time when there was a knock at the door. It was pretty late for a delivery guy. I looked through the door viewer and saw it was my ex-wife, pounding on the door. I tried to ignore it and asked Sarah to stay low. Not that I was scared of her, but I didn't want unnecessary drama. But Emily was in no mood to leave. She looked furious, and after a few knocks, she was screaming, "I know Sarah's here. She can't escape me now." God only knows how she came to know that Sarah was here. Maybe she was watching us through the distance. I don't know. Even imagining that crept me out. I realized there was no point in avoiding it. I wasn't doing anything wrong here. I asked Sarah whether she was comfortable with how the situation was escalating. She was scared but supported me. I answered the door and Emily came for Sarah. When I intervened, she pounded on me. "How could you move on so easily? How you let someone else into your life? Are you going to marry her?" I said it's none of her business. We're divorced and I can do whatever I want to do. She called Sarah manipulative and homewrecker. She said she betrayed their friendship and violated the sister code by dating her friend's ex-husband. She's such a witch. She had left me a year ago without a second thought, and now she screamed about betrayal as if she were the victim? I threatened to call the cops on her if she doesn't leave and get a restraining order on the basis of this incident. She thought I was bluffing. She held my arms and said I would regret dating Sarah. Called her all the names under the sun. Said we should get back together and that no one under the sun can love me the way she does, and I can never be happy without her. I freed my arms and escorted her out. She wasn't ready to leave until I dialed the cops, and Sarah threatened to post her on Instagram. She was recording all this while. It was such a nightmare, I tell you. She went and told everyone that Sarah's manipulated her way into my life, used our divorce to her advantage to date me, as if I were some golden prize. If she thinks so highly of me, she shouldn't have asked to open our marriage. She wanted a thrilling life. She got one. Now she has no business in what I do with my life. Now I realize she wasn't here to reconcile, but to dominate the narrative and humiliate us. Sarah and I didn't betray her. We started talking only after my divorce was closed. If she thinks this is to be betrayal, so be it. I won't spare my breath on what she thinks. Update 2. I was such a stupid person to think my ex-wife would back off after I chased her out that evening. Yeah, we were expecting that she would try to control the narrative, portray Sarah in a negative light, but we didn't care. Friends who know me know the truth, and people who are entertaining her also know the truth, but they want some tea. Anyway, after a month of that encounter, Emily went to Sarah's, and this time in a completely different mood. She played the destitute and victim. almost pleaded with Sarah to stop seeing me, begged her to step aside so that she could have a chance with me. Said, "We were married for so many years, I deserve a chance, at least let me try. Until you are there to support him, he won't fall for me." Apparently she pleaded woman to woman, asking Sarah to back off. Sarah said she was almost manipulated by her, that she was the third wheel, and that she was the reason I wasn't giving a second chance to my marriage. She almost made up her mind to stop seeing me. Gladly, she first spoke to her friends about it, and one of them spilled the tea about Emily's truth. Emily wanted to return to me not because she felt guilty or wanted redemption. No, she came back because she was betrayed by her lovers. She was sleeping with a couple of guys after the divorce, and both turned out to be jerks. They enjoyed her for a few months, and when they were done, they ghosted her before introducing her to their friends, who did the same to her. They didn't care about her emotions or her needs. All they cared was what they wanted from her. And what I hear from Sarah's friend, it was gruesome. Maybe then she realized she traded off her marriage for such filth. It did break my heart that she chose such a dark lane for herself, but what can I do about it? I cannot be a rehab for her, right? The most astounding part is, despite what happened, she still has the evilness to manipulate and turn the narrative against us. Instead of focusing on her life and building it, she's going behind me and Sarah. When Sarah informed me about all this, I was pretty upset that she wanted to decide for me. I told her clearly that Emily is my past and under no circumstances I was going to take her back. I feel sorry for her, but that's all I have for her. Nothing more. I cannot forget the days and nights she traumatized me in the marriage. I cannot forget the humiliation and the coldness. She's getting whatever she deserves, and I have no plans to make it any better for her. She traded a stable, loving marriage for a few late-night coffees, office dinners, and whatever chaotic thrill she could find, then got ghosted by the literal trash she ran after, and now she wants you to clean up her mess? Every text she sends is just a reminder that she's incapable of introspection, respect, or self-control. You don't owe her a single thought. Block, ignore, document, and maybe pour yourself a coffee in one of your favorite cafes she'll never touch again. Because unlike her, you didn't sell yourself to mediocrity and regret. You won. She lost. And if she thinks she's still got any power over you, all she's really doing is showing the world she's a complete disaster. Share your thoughts with us in the comments below. And thank you for joining us today on Our Space. Be sure to like and subscribe and hit that notification bell so you don't miss out on our next video. Until next time.